Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for another SoFi stock update, and this one is a true banger. I want to go over all of the typical things that we do, like the news for the day, the short interest on SoFi stock, what is going on. It was a green day overall, but it wasn't as explosive, and I kind of want to touch on the reasonings for that, as well as this article. We're going to read a considerable amount of this because I think there is a lot of valuable insight here. And I think everybody's buying SoFi stock needs to hear this article. And I know a lot of people aren't going to go out and read it for themselves, which understandably, you do a lot of reading in the day. Why sit here and read another article? That's why I'm going to read it to you. But it says insiders are buying SoFi stock. Here is why. So I think that's pretty exciting. We got a lot to get into, so let's get to it. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That is the only thing that I ask, and good for you. It is free 99. So thank you for those of you guys that went ahead and did that. Also, if you want to get almost totally free stock, check out the link down below for Mumu. Deposit $1, get 3 free stocks, as well as an additional free share of Neo, and I believe they are up in after hours. Last time I checked, it might not be, I don't know, they just had earnings, so check that out if you guys want to be a part of it and get those free stocks. So getting into it, SoFi stock was up 1.07% today, down 0.53% here in after hours. And why SoFi stock was green today, there's a lot of reasons you could nitpick here and there, but fact is, the markets are getting more comfortable with the prospects of a 50 basis point rate hike coming in May and an additional 50 basis point rate hike coming sometime throughout the rest of this year. Now you see 68.3% of market participants are expecting a 0.5% rate hike at this May meeting, exactly 5 weeks, 5 days, 21 hours, and 31 minutes away. So the markets are, like I said, getting more comfortable buying SoFi stock at these prices, and I think that will continue, and you will see SoFi stock recover here in the short and mid term. I don't think we're going to stay under $10 for all too long once the markets accept that, hey, SoFi will not be as hurt as the markets are expecting. And as you guys do know, in theory, SoFi stock should not benefit at all from rates going up. The exact opposite. It should hurt SoFi's business a lot because a vast majority of their business is lending products, right? Getting auto loans, home loans, refinancing different kinds of loans, a lot of that kind of stuff. So it shouldn't be good for SoFi stock. The markets are pricing in that it won't be. And honestly, let me be honest with you guys. I would be worried about SoFi, honestly, if insiders were selling the stock. They're not selling the stock. They're buying the stock. And that's the last thing somebody like Anthony Noto is going to do, or the multiple different large funds and owners of SoFi that are increasing their positions at dramatic paces. I mean, they are loading up on SoFi stock. No other way to put it. We're going to get into the actual numbers here, who is buying what and all of that. But if they were selling out, if you even seen, half of the people selling out, that would be something I would take as a huge red flag, that these rate increases would have a bigger impact to SoFi stock than even what the markets are pricing in. But the fact that the markets are pricing in that we're going to see this big hit, so the markets are getting more comfortable buying SoFi stock at these levels, which is arguably way under its fundamental valuation. But that is where the opportunity comes in, because you're seeing the insiders buying the stock. You're seeing firms that have very large positions in SoFi stock doing pretty much nothing but buying the stock. Nobody is really selling the stock here. The shorts are pushing down the share price, yes, in anticipation that SoFi's business will be hurt a lot, because in theory it should be. As rates go up, you should see less lending and SoFi should make less money. But if the opposite turns out to be true and SoFi is pretty much unaffected by this, or in a very small way, then you will see SoFi stock rally from these levels. And honestly, guys, I would be worried if I seen Anthony Noto, seen these boards of directors and these large companies that own SoFi stock like SoftBank selling out of their positions. This would be a totally different conversation. But that gives me a lot more confidence to sit here and say I think SoFi stock will do well in the next couple of months, definitely in the next year, because they're loading up on the stock. If anybody knows what is going on with the business, it would be the insiders, and they would be the ones selling out first, not buying the stock. So very important. I wanted to really recap, my thought process here, why I'm actually very bullish on SoFi. And the insiders buying, that's the most bullish thing you could ever see for a stock or a company that you are invested in. So very, very important. Let's get into a little bit of the news that did come out today. And you are seeing, obviously, the MJ stocks, the marijuana stocks that are going crazy today. It says Senate passes bill to expand medical research on marijuana. House passed bill to consider okay, restart. House panel to consider bill to decriminalize marijuana Monday. So a lot of enthusiasm here. Could be good trades. Just to be fully transparent, I do have a trade on this. I have a Cron $5 call, and those are getting close to being in the money. I bought it at $6 a piece. Bought 20 at 120 bucks. They should do very well tomorrow, and I think there's a lot of opportunities there. But if you are trading these marijuana trades, then not financial advice, not a recommendation, but I would make contracts free by tomorrow because anything can happen over the weekend. And I'm not endorsing to do this. Definitely, if you are going to trade these kind of trades, more speculative trades, momentum trades, you want to have your risk to reward ratio in line. If you got $1,000 portfolio, don't put $300 into these trades because odds are you will lose money on options. About 83% of options expire worthless. Some that don't can do very well though. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, but don't take my word for it. Come to your own conclusions. That's my position for full transparency's sake. Now, some of the other news that is more important than not, and this could be an actual very bullish thing. It says Ukrainian army, Russia wants to end war by May 9th, according to intelligence from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Russian troops are being told that the war must end by May 9th, widely celebrated in Russia as the day of victory over the Nazi Germany. So expect, I guess, that to be a bullish catalyst if it ends with negotiations, or it ends with them coming to terms. That's really the biggest bullish catalyst that I can see for the markets coming sometime in the future. If it's by May 9th, that's going to be huge. So just keep that in mind. It's definitely not a definitive there, but will be really, really good news for SoFi stock as well as the broad markets. You can also see Morgan Stanley shifts to see 50 base point hikes from Fed. Like I already said, you're already seeing that priced in by the market, so nothing too crazy there. And it says Russia needs to be removed from G20. And then it also says G7 leaders say united in resolve to restore peace and stability. And let me just stress this one more time. If this war comes to an end without nukes or chemical weapons, at this point, you're going to see the wildest short squeezes across the board in the markets that you have ever witnessed. I'm talking massive short squeeze. That's what's happening to the broad markets right now. The broad markets, if you pull up the S&P 500 right now, you had about 5 million shares that were actually covered today, and that's what helped to fuel this rally. That's what it has really been causing this rally. But shorts are not covering in a lot of the stocks that they feel like will do bad during a rate hike cycle, like SoFi. Then again, to what I said in the beginning of this video, or just a couple of minutes ago, if SoFi can prove the market's wrong, it will be rewarded favorably for doing that. Mark my words on that one. Now, the short interest of free float goes without saying, 18.4%. That is extremely high. The estimated shares that are sold short of 132.63 million. Cost to borrow max of 21.45%. Now, this is very, very bullish because think about this. If you were lending out your stock, you would get about 21.45% for lending out those shares. Well, the utilization is 100%. So that means virtually nobody is willing to lend out their stock for 21%. The cost of borrow rate is kind of like the implied volatility for options. It's really the implied move of what people think could happen to the stock. It could go up or down 21%. That's really what you can get out of that cost to borrow. And it could do that in a relatively short amount of time. So definitely looking really good right there. Days to cover at 2.95. Yes, it would be hard for shorts to get out of their short positions if they all wanted to at the same time. Now you are seeing as well for the day institutional option flows, 4 orders totaling $1.26 million, positive order value of 100%. So not a huge dollar amount for these option orders, but skewed to the bullish side 100%, literally positive order value of 100%. So definitely very bullish right there. And I think that's all we really need to talk about. Let's get into the article. Before we do, just a quick look at the technicals, guys. The MACD is bullish, so that is definitely good. And we're kind of hanging out and consolidating under $10 per share and really under this 20-day simple moving average. That's going to be the key. If we can break out above that, we're going to go into this little wedge right here in between $9.72 and $10 per share. And then if we break out above that, $10 will turn into a support level yet again. The RSI is still on the oversold side at 44.48. Neutral is 50. So take that for what it is. There's a lot of room to continue to the upside before we are even talking about getting to the bought side of the RSI. So that's really it as far as the technicals. The volume for the day was very low at about 30 million, which is very, very low for SoFi stock. You can see just the low volume candle that we've seen. So let's get into this article and then let's go ahead and wrap this video up. I don't want to waste any of your guys' time. So it says insiders are buying SoFi stock. Here is why. Now, just bear with me for 1 second. Okay, it says SoFi stock, why insiders are buying. Insiders may sell stocks for a variety of reasons, whether it be for personal expenses, tax expenses, or a loss of faith in the company. However, there is only one reason why insiders buy stock in their company. They believe it will go up. With SoFi trading near a 52-week low, it seems that insiders believe that SoFi stock has room to grow. During March, Noto has purchased 133,344 shares of SoFi so far. His most recent and largest purchase this month occurred yesterday when the CEO purchased 34,000 shares at an average price of $8.91. After the purchase, Noto now owns approximately 3 million shares. Other company insiders have been active as well this month. On March 14th, director Micah Hevner purchased 5,000 shares at an average price of $7.99 per share. That's a hell of an average cost basis on your position. Nonetheless, furthermore, director Aham Ali H.A. Alahami, what? That is a very long and complicated name to say, but he purchased 10,000 shares at an average price of $8.40 on March 16th. Zooming out further, insiders have been buying SoFi stock in mass the past year. According to NASDAQ, SoFi insiders have purchased 405 million shares during the past year, while selling 180 million shares. In total, the purchase amount to a net activity of 224 million shares bought. Based on insider purchases, it can be inferred that insiders are bullish on SoFi stock. With that in mind, let's take a close look at who else is betting big on the financial services company. And it says, according to Whale Wisdom, institutional ownership of SoFi increased by 19% quarter over quarter during Q4. In addition, 427 funds now own SoFi, which was an increase of 127 funds from Q3. Okay. It's pretty obvious people are bullish, right? You guys get the idea, but let's continue on a little bit further. It says, with that said, let's take a look at the top 5 institutional owners of SoFi as of Q4. SoftBank Group owns 117 million shares or 14.59% ownership. Vanguard Group, 53 million shares or 6.61% ownership. Red Crow Capital, 42 million shares or 5.28% ownership. T. Rowe Price, 35 million shares or 4.37% ownership. And Silver Lake Group, 31 million shares or 3.86% ownership. It's very, very clear here that almost everybody is bullish on SoFi stock. The only thing that is holding SoFi down is these rate hike increases and the market's expectation that SoFi will not do well. Let me repeat again, because I'm probably not going to keep talking about this in every video. If SoFi can prove the market's wrong, you will be rewarded favorably for it. If SoFi's growth slows down, you will not be. But the insiders are buying and loading up on the stock. I mean, that's very dramatic, especially right now. And not a lot of not a lot of insiders are buying their stock. So it's a huge sign. I hope you guys are as bullish as I am. If you are, let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel on your way out and get yourself those free stocks. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.